My husband's work friend wouldn't stop flirting with him. My response in their group chat left everyone speechless. I, 34F, never considered myself the jealous type. After 8 years of marriage, I trusted my husband completely. We've always had a solid relationship built on communication and trust. At least that's what I thought until 3 months ago. It started with small things. My husband would laugh at his phone more often. He'd turn away slightly when texting. Nothing major, just tiny shifts in behavior that made me pause. I didn't think much of it until I noticed a particular name appearing on his notifications frequently. A colleague he'd mentioned a few times in passing. One night while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed repeatedly on the coffee table. I didn't mean to look, I swear, but the preview notifications caught my eye. 3 messages from this colleague, each more inappropriate than the last. Not explicit, but definitely flirty. Inside jokes. References to how boring his evening with me must be. Suggestions about getting drinks, just the 2 of them. My stomach dropped. I put the phone down immediately, unsure of what to do. When he came back, I casually asked who kept texting him. "Oh, just work stuff," he said, quickly pocketing his phone. That was the first lie. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more changes. He started working late more often. His colleague's name came up in conversation, always casually, always professionally. But there was something in the way he mentioned her that felt off. I'd catch him smiling at his phone, then turning it away when I walked into the room. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I needed to know the truth. While he was asleep, I checked his messages with her. What I found wasn't a full-blown affair, but it was definitely crossing lines. Flirtatious messages. Inside jokes. Complaints about me. Plans to meet for drinks after work. Nothing physical had happened, at least not according to these texts. But the emotional betrayal hit me like a truck. I didn't confront him immediately. Part of me hoped he'd come clean, or put a stop to it himself. Instead, things escalated. She started sending him selfies, nothing explicit, but clearly meant to show off. Comments about his appearance. Questions about our marriage. And my husband? He didn't shut it down. He responded with compliments and his own complaints about our relationship. The final straw came when I saw a group chat notification. Apparently, several colleagues had a work group chat where they discussed projects and occasionally made plans. The work friend had added my husband recently, and I noticed her behavior was different there, professional appropriate. It was clear she was using the private chat for her inappropriate comments while maintaining a professional image in front of others. I decided I'd had enough of being in the dark. While my husband was in the shower, again, I took his phone and opened the group chat. What I saw made my blood boil. She had just sent a message saying, "Another boring weekend with the wife? I'm free if you want some real fun," winky face. That's when I did something I never thought I would do. I replied as my husband. "I think you've misunderstood our relationship. These messages make me uncomfortable and are inappropriate. I love my wife and value my marriage. Please keep our interactions professional from now on." Then, before anyone could respond, I sent a follow-up. "Also, this is actually his wife. I've seen all your private messages too. If this continues, I'll be sharing them with HR on Monday." I put the phone down, hands shaking, and waited. Within minutes, the notifications exploded. The colleagues sent frantic apologies. Other group members expressed shock. One even privately messaged saying this wasn't the first time she'd done this to married colleagues. When my husband came out of the shower and saw his phone lighting up, he froze. The look on his face told me everything I needed to know. He knew he was caught. "We need to talk," I said quietly. What followed was the most painful conversation of our marriage. He admitted to enjoying the attention but swore nothing physical had happened. He'd been feeling insecure about turning 40, about his career stagnating, about the routine we'd fallen into. None of these were excuses, he acknowledged, but rather explanations for why he'd allowed the inappropriate relationship to continue. "I never intended to cheat," he insisted, tears in his eyes. "But I know what I did was still betrayal." The next few days were tense. He slept in the spare room. We had long, difficult conversations about trust, about our marriage, about what we both needed. He offered complete transparency with his phone, his accounts, everything. He also promised to request a transfer to a different department. Meanwhile, the fallout at his workplace was significant. The colleague was reprimanded by management after several other staff members came forward with similar stories. She eventually transferred to another branch. My husband faced some awkward conversations, but was ultimately supported by his team who, it turned out, had been uncomfortable with her behavior for some time. It's been 3 months since that night. We're in marriage counseling, working through the breach of trust. Some days are better than others. Sometimes I still check his phone, though less frequently now. He's been patient with my need for reassurance, understanding that trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. Yesterday, he came home with the news that he'd been offered a promotion, one that would take him away from any lingering workplace drama. As we celebrated with dinner, he looked at me and said, "I almost threw away everything that matters for something that didn't." I won't make that mistake again. I don't know if our marriage will fully recover. Trust is like a mirror. Once broken, you can put it back together, but you always see the cracks. But we're trying day by day, conversation by conversation. If there's anything I've learned from this experience, it's that sometimes you have to fight for your relationship, even when it means doing things you never thought you would. My response in that group chat changed everything. Not just for us, but for others who might have been her future targets. And to anyone facing a similar situation, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. But also remember that people make mistakes, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes, those mistakes don't have to define your entire relationship. I'll update if anything changes, but for now, we're taking it one day at a time. Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the support and advice. To answer some common questions. 1. Yes, I've seen all their messages now. There was definite emotional betrayal, but no evidence of physical cheating. 2. No, I don't regret messaging the group chat. The private approach hadn't worked, he was ignoring red flags. And sometimes public accountability is necessary. 3. For those saying I invaded his privacy, yes, I did. It wasn't my proudest moment. But sometimes you have to choose between respecting someone's privacy and protecting your marriage. 4. To those suggesting divorce immediately, relationships are complicated. We're working through this with professional help, and I'll make decisions based on our progress, not internet advice, though I appreciate the concern. 5. For those in similar situations, document everything, trust your gut, and remember that you deserve respect in your relationship. Update. 6 months later, things are actually much better. The counseling helped us identify communication issues we didn't even know we had. My husband has been transparent and committed to rebuilding trust. His promotion has been good for his confidence and eliminated the toxic workplace dynamic. We're planning a trip next month, our first real vacation in years. It's work, but we're finding our way back to each other.